All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Associated Guests. I, as always, am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. Today, we're going to do a quick and breezy streamer award leak. Apparently, it's fucking crazy, according to Aswin Gold. And we'll get in with Steven Crowder and see what's going on in Minnesota right now. Let's get into it.
This is actually crazy. Streamer Awards behind the scenes leak. What? Talks about what Ty Lil wanted to do to Fan.
I see them down there, and I hear the guy take the mic about if you're going to tell a joke, at least make it funny. And then we went to an intermission. I go down to the bathroom. As I walk in the bathroom, I hear somebody come in and go, "Yo, fuck that bitch. Well, I'll fucking knock her fucking teeth out. How's she going to suck with no teeth? Man, fuck that."
What the
Context.
Hi, Sinet. You broke the record for the most expensive haircut and the least educational university. And also, congrats on your new documentary with 50 Cent. That was you, right?
If you all gonna be on the mic, now turn this mic, now turn this shit on. Turn this shit on. If you all gonna be on the mic making jokes, at least let it be funny.
Agreed, 100%.
If you all gonna be on the mic making jokes, at least let it be funny.
Here.
Get better writers.
Do you want to do a joke?
No.
And I was like, oh my God. And then he started saying some shit about, I don't want to repeat it, about some things that are assault.
Repeat it.
Wise that he's going to do. This dude's in the bathroom talking about he's going to straight up beat the shit out of her and do some horrible things to her. And I was coming out of the bathroom and I was like, yo, man, are you okay? Like, you good?
just
And he
talk.
looked at me like this. And his friend goes, man, he's just from New York. And then they both left. And I was like,
He's just from New York. Oh, okay.
I thought
I
it was
mean,
a
have you
bit,
never met
but
anyone
then
from
in
New
the
York?
bathroom, this dude's straight up talking about how he wants to beat her up, like break her fucking teeth in, and then like you know, obviously saying some shit, talking about beating the shit, like actually physically beating her, and then moved on to like actual SA with her, and I'm like, dude, this is I would have never.
All right, that's a bit much.
What? No way.
I gotta look out for her. You know what I mean? Like some people
I
take
mean, people
shit too far.
always talk about
The
whooping
thing is
people's ass,
that
but
once somebody
the other
reveals
thing, that's a bit
themselves to
much.
be a person like this, eventually they will be violent towards somebody or aggressive to somebody. The dude wasn't going to do shit because he couldn't, not because he didn't.
I mean, if someone compares you to Diddy, it's probably best not to have leaked audio of you talking about SA and them right after that happening. Like that's fucking dumb. Like you can't go off the handle like that. At least not in the public forum. You never know who's gonna be in the stalls. People lift the feet up all the time.
Want to. Cutie crying at the end about building bridges between communities.
And that was nuts. Like talking about building bridges and community and transparency and being open and all that stuff they were talking about, and then coming out there looking as fake as you can be. Like this color scheme would make Donald Trump jealous. Like that's not her real hair. Like this whole bit. She don't normally look like this. Like I've never seen her live stream, but I've seen her, like that whole video of her defending Hassan Piker and all that. This is not what this girl looks like.
Yeah, this is really bad. I'm gonna be real. Like this is crazy.
Definitely not
Guys,
QT.
I'm not joking. The organizer of the Streamer Awards, Cutie Cinderella, just said this in the dude's chat.
QT Cinderella! I have bad news for the haters. Talil will have a seat every year. Clock that T.
She said this literally 30 minutes before the leak. It's over.
That's nigger.
Oh shit, this is that video. Hold on, is this the one I was thinking it was? Okay, my bad. We'll go to about right here. To the claim truth is the part that I wanted to do. I didn't know this was the whole thing with that lady. Ugh, gross. Look, I don't care what anyone says. Everyone's talking about how this person is actually a leftist who's fed up with all this stuff. I don't care. I don't care if they're left or right. They're a Karen, and I don't care what this person was doing beforehand. Don't just start throwing off the N-word, especially when people have a camera in your face. Like this. But then again, her crowdfunding thing is through the roof, 100 grand already. But 100 grand, how long will that really get you? I mean, honestly. But let's get going here.
Come on.
Ignore
A few
it.
things here. Again, going through, we already kind of front-loaded this. You can check the references, links in the description as we do every show. A couple of claims that have been made. Here's a claim now that you are seeing circulating. And this is just like when the left tries to say fascist equals right-wing, but they sort of ignore all the left-wing communist fascists because communism does require fascism.
Yeah.
They just want you to associate, well,
No, you can be
racism must
fascist, left
automatically
or
mean
right-
right-wing.
right-wing.
Therefore, this lady who,
It's been
whether
about
you agree
even,
with her or
even
not,
over the
said
last
the
100
N-word,
years.
so she must be a MAGA Trump supporter. Here's Harry Sisson between sexts.
A Trump supporter just got caught on camera being racist to a Somalian couple in a Cinnabon in Wisconsin, and the video went so viral that she ended up getting fired. This has also been discovered. Her mugshot, her full name, Crystal Therese Wilsley, and the charges against her, endangering children 3 times. She was booked in Ohio back in 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that's true, here's the problem. Her Facebook includes pictures of signs supporting Kamala Harris and abortion rights. Right here, women's choice is on the ballot. Vote Democrat, Biden, Harris. And what's interesting is this lady very likely has had some abortions or considered it, and Somalis never do.
And again, look, I don't care what side of the political divide she's on. If she's behaving badly, then we can talk about that. But everyone needs to stop trying to assign blame, okay? Every time someone comes out and does something, the left is like, oh, that's a right-wing person. And the right's like, oh, that's a left-wing person. Is one side usually more true than the others? I mean, yeah, but that's happenstance. This is what happens when you have a 24-hour news cycle. Everyone's just ready to be the quickest to the punch. But they don't really care, what's behind that, really. They don't care about being factual. They just care about getting the information out there. And they will speculate the shit out of it. Don't believe me? Watch any of the big 3. And I say big 3, the constantly dwindling 3, Fox, MSN, or MS Now. Is it called MS Now? Which is stupid. And CNN.
That's the problem that you end up with, white women. Do you think this lady will change her voting? I doubt it. And by the way, it was reported that those child endangerment charges were later dropped. So here's the thing. I'm not saying that she's an angel, but that does matter. What they try and do is go, MAGA, Trump, because she said the N-word, and she's a child abuser. They just tack it on, tack it on, tack it on. And this is where you talk about not free speech laws, but libel laws, slander laws. Like we're getting to the point where those things are going to have to apply online, where there are probably going to be some cases to test this, because folks just have their names completely destroyed, tarred and feathered with things that are not only unsubstantiated, but are provably untrue.
Right, and you can't go back and unring a bell with that. Like, I know you said dim activist. We're not 100% sure, but there's zero evidence that this person's a Trump supporter that has been shown. Harry just went out there and said it.
Right.
And we were talking about before, it's like, when somebody says the N-word, it's kind of like a toss-up. I don't know if it's a Democrat or a Republican.
It could go either
really
way
is.
at this point.
Exactly.
It really
There's
could
people
go
on both
either
sides who
way.
do this kind of stuff.
Equalizer. All we do know, though, is some black person somewhere is getting heart disease, apparently, from this.
Because someone said it.
Yes, because the N-word was said. The angels
cares?
don't get their wings, but they just get heart disease.
Right. Do you think somewhere Ray Rice is sitting? It's like E.T. He's sitting on his couch like, I feel something. Now, we don't know. It's a flower petal falls. So we don't know exactly, again, what led to the confrontation. Were some stories out there that Wilsey started it by making fun of the lady's hijab, or that the couple attacked her for sexualizing herself for not wearing a hijab. This is one of those things where, people are raising money. It's one of those wait and see. We don't know, but I will say this: we shouldn't be in a place where you have.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I mean, they showed the video of it earlier in this about this Somali couple just constantly berating this woman for dressing too sexy. She wasn't even dressing sexy. Like, she was literally covered. The only thing showing was she didn't even have like a low-cut shirt. I think she was wearing long sleeves. But since she had her face exposed and all that, and these people had just gotten here from Somalia, they're probably very devout Muslim, which, is their right. But in this country, you can't just go around saying that kind of shit. But at the same time, and I don't know how long they were berating her before she switched to this, but still, They pulled out a camera. They were very clearly trying to antagonize you. Don't give them what they want. Don't feed the trolls. That's number one rule.
You have clashes of cultures like this. I think this woman is very likely a liberal. Why? Because she's a white, seemingly a white middle-class woman, and because she has, posts in her social media that seem to support abortion, seem to support Kamala and Biden at one point in time. So I would bet, but I don't know for sure. I do know that people shouldn't be having to deal with being defrauded by an entire swath, an entire community in their state, like Minnesotans are having to deal with Somalis. But the good news is Democrats effectively bought, through the taxpayers' dollars, they bought a new voting bloc, and you can expect more of this. Not all cultures are compatible. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
If you look at parents, when they're happy with a potential spouse for their daughter or for their son, it's usually because they think they're compatible as far as values. Parents will say, well, hold on a second. You're a Christian, she's an atheist, that may not work. Or, well, hold on a second. You're Catholic, this person's Muslim, it may not work, right? Because they're actually looking out for your best interests. If you apply that to society, however, it's completely unacceptable. The standards that we apply to our individual lives, wisdom, so that we can make better decisions, we all do, are not. They are impermissible to apply to a society, and we expect that to go well. Let's look. What are they doing? You're looking at these Somalis, a Midwestern town, 17,000 people. Right, 17,000 people. What's going on? Well, statistically, the answer is probably being net takers, contributing zero, and probably part of a community that is defrauding the taxpayer of a lot of resources. Stephen Miller actually talked about this.
And that's one of the funny things I saw. Like Ilhan Omar saying that they, these are people, they pay taxes. And yes, they are people. But I also saw the statistic, the average taxes they pay the whole year is just like $300. I'll have to look it up for the exact, but it's very low for a yearly bit of taxes. And even that's probably because even government checks get taxed. So
we'll get to Ilhan Omar in just a second, brother banger in chief. He talked about how 75% of Somalis in Minnesota, I'm not able to fact check this yet, but it seems to check out, 75% are on welfare. Why are we importing any of them?
Based on the records that we already have, and this is a significant undercount, by the way.
And I can't take this guy seriously. I'm sorry. This guy looks like French Stewart trying out to be Dr. Evil. For those of you who don't know who French Stewart is, he was on a show called Third Rock from the Sun. He was also on a really bad sequel for, here we go. Like, maybe it's just me, but imagine this guy trying out to be Dr. Evil. Like, it's just, oh, right. Like, I can't look at this guy without...
Way. 75% of the Somali population in Minnesota is on welfare. But that's likely a significant
is it just me?
undercount of just how much of a financial
imagine him
burden
and Dr. Evil
the
make
Somali
up.
refugee population is imposing on this country.
Now I'll show you Ilhan Omar, who married her brother.
It can't just be me.
Attempting to deflect blame and do the whole, well, actually, we're the biggest victims of this. And I'll explain to you
Stephen Miller?
not only how it doesn't work, but a really easy solution.
Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent.
I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota.
Not really.
We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers.
No, they are acknowledging
really
that most of you aren't.
And angry about the fraud that has occurred. If there was a linkage in the
All
money
but
that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure
was, 87?
of the FBI and our court system for not figuring that out.
It's your fault for not catching me.
Basically,
it's their fault for not catching us.
Charging them.
Oh, and you know what, Mission Control, could you bring up that clip where there was someone speaking, I believe, in Somali and saying that Ilhan Omar is not doing the bidding, she's not acting in the best interest of Minnesotans or the United States, but in the best interest, she is representing Somalis. That's what he said. And unless she publicly denounces that, she should be booted. We should have a process to get rid of someone if they are associated directly with, if they are on stage with someone saying, yeah, we are acting against America's best
I
interest,
gotta see this.
Democrat, Republican, there should be a mechanism in place to immediately remove that person without denouncement. Yeah, let's bring this up, and then I'll give you guys a really simple solution because we're solution-based. Here is that video. With an audio
idea of wealth.
The interests of Ilhan are not Ilhan's. It's not the interest of Minnesota, nor is it the interest of the American people. The interest of Ilhan is that of the Somalian people and Somalia.
And she's
Now,
standing.
Look, and if that's true, I completely agree. Look, especially when it comes to politicians, their loyalties have to be to the American people in whatever region they're representing. Does she happen to represent a district that has a high Somali, well, I'll say Somali American, or people from Somalia who are now either currently or becoming Americans? Sure. But I'm all for immigration. Immigration is a wonderful thing. People will abuse the term we're a nation of immigrants, so we're actually a nation of whatever the people that came across from England were. It's too early. I barely had a cup of coffee. But people abuse the whole we're a nation of immigrants things. Technically true, but oh my God, it's too early. Sorry, I'm still not feeling great, and I've only had half a cup of coffee. But no, like as a nation, we need to. Sorry.
And Somalia.
Oh yeah. You should represent the American people, not a foreign land. That should never be the case. And in a lot of these cases, people who haven't yet attained their citizenship are sending money back home, which completely takes it away from the United States. That should never be a thing. And this big scandal in Minnesota, I think it was $8 billion just out of this Minnesota charity that's being sent to Somalia. This was all found during the Doge U.S. aid thing. This should not be a thing. Should we help other countries? Of course. But we cannot do it by defrauding people. You can't package it as like the autism one especially. There was one, I think a good chunk of that was from this autism organization. And they were getting all this money for being autistic, but no, they were just taking it and sending all the money to Somalia. That isn't something that should happen. That money is for people here. And God, that's a lot of money. Like you should look at how many, like look at the statistics and see, oh man, it's jumped up. We went from having 22,000 people with autism in the state of Minnesota to having 6 million or even 600,000 in the course of a year or two. Like that's completely insane.
And she's
Now,
standing there smiling.
I'm going by the translation. You guys can let me know. Anyone who speaks pirate can let me know if that.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Always look up the actual transcripts for these, because you never know who's translating these. It could be someone who's heavily right-leaning, heavily left-leaning. Make sure. And if the dubbers for anime over the last 10, 15 years are anything to go off of, you can't trust people to get what's actually said across. Or if one of my interpreters at work or anything to go off of.
That is correct.
That be what she said.
Yeah.
Yes. And they also mentioned that this is the former PM of Somalia.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if that is correct, and she's on stage there,
yeah.
And if the translation is correct and she doesn't denounce
He's
it,
the former Prime Minister of Somalia.
Yeah, what does PM stand for? Prime Marauder?
Yeah, Prime Marauder. Prime Maritimer.
Hey, he's a pirate maker.
Not to mention our PR rep.
person of rape. They rape a lot. That's one thing we're good at is raping and starving.
The penultimate rapist. I'd be the PM, the pirate man.
So here's, hey, a third of Somalis don't speak English. Okay, third are unemployed. At least 3/4 we're seeing right now are on welfare. About $1 billion in welfare fraud in that state.
And that's another thing. You should follow the laws of wherever you're going. The same way I would say that's why Johnny Somali's having so much trouble in, I can't remember what Asian country he was in. It was like Japan or Korea, or hell, it could have been the Philippines for all I know. But he was being a little terror in all three of those countries, and now he will probably never get out of jail. Don't go to other countries and fuck around with them. It's just not, it's not cool. It's not cool when American YouTubers and streamers go to other countries and just fuck with people, or move there and do it and just harass the locals for content. And it's not cool when it happens here either. I care a little less when it happens here, mostly because us going to other countries who maybe don't have as loose of laws as we have here, I mean, it's a good way to make sure you're never seen again. People talk about people being disappeared here. People get disappeared in other countries way more because it's their laws on the books. Like, especially in Middle Eastern countries where their religion dictates their law. That's, like I said, most people say they don't want Sharia law to come here. That's a good thing. Like, I'm all for moderate Muslims and all that because they've been forced to become a little bit more loose, a little bit more liberal. They've been forced to progress a little bit in their views. And just like Christianity, that's why you can shit on Christianity all you want these days, is because they've kind of, they've pulled back the fingers on the grip around the neck of American culture.
A couple of solutions, like we said, official language, anyone who comes here, and I don't just mean to become a citizen, I mean to work here on a visa.
Yeah, and definitely learn the
language. You speak English by the time you get here. It's not on-the-job training. You speak English by the time you get here. We've talked about our immigration policy.
I don't agree with by the time you get here, but definitely learn it. Like, there should be a little waivery period, like, especially when it comes to, asylees. If they're an actual asylee, and in that, it's when you get to the first country that there's no danger in, you can claim asylum. For a lot of these people coming up from South America especially, that would be Mexico technically. But we all know the cartels have a lot of power there. Excuse me. But I don't know. That's just me. You should learn the language, but there should be a grace period, especially if you're an asylee coming here. Give them a little bit of grace to learn the language. That's it. But, and yes, Americans should learn other languages, Spanish especially, because it's the closest country here. I don't care about French because those people are just Canadians. And, even an Asian language, like Japanese or Chinese for when they eventually take over, would definitely be in your favor.
Policy. Okay? But another thing. If you come here, you are not entitled to any social safety benefits for, what should we say, a decade? A decade. How about a decade? You get nothing. Nothing. You come here, you better be paying taxes, you better check in, and you know the language when you get here.
And again, that depends. And I don't agree with the learn the language part, just straight up. But social safety nets should only be for a couple of years while you get back on your feet. The same thing for people coming from other countries. A couple of years, like, depending on your situation, and it should be a case-by-case basis. And this is the main problem with the government. It's either lazy in one direction or lazy in the other. They're either lazy and they don't give anybody anything and they reject everybody outright, or they're lazy in the other direction and they give everybody everything that they ever want, or every person of this particular group, or everything from this cause that I care about. That's not the way it should be. Does that cause a little bit more red tape? Maybe. But again, this is something that should be actually looked at instead of just waving the pen around, presidentially speaking.
used to be if you didn't speak English and you were trying, Americans were very forgiving. We were very gracious. Like, oh, okay, hey, I'm trying to speak English. Now it's like, if you're not fluent, gone. Gone. Do you want me to send your picture directly to ICE?
That's a bit much. That's
where we are at this point in time. And so people are reacting very differently. People who would never react in support of this lady at Cinnabon are now going, you know what? Okay, I get it. And I bet you there are more of those people in Minnesota than you would know. And hey, take this group of people, 75% on welfare. Take them out. What's the voting block look like in Minnesota?
And this is the only thing I'll ever compliment Greg Abbott on. When they were sending people here to Texas and just letting them run rampant here, crossing the border and all that, he put them on a bus and sent them directly to where all the politicians in Washington live. Like I said, I don't much care for the guy. I think he's an idiot. I think he's got a lot of really stupid views and ideas. That was baller. I'm not gonna lie. That was very based. Like, it was awesome, because these people don't care, because it doesn't ever affect where they live. These people live in suburbs and gated communities and HOAs, or in Martha's freaking Vineyard, which is where, millionaire career politicians go to live, or presidents go to retire, or whatever. But yeah, send them directly to where they live, because they don't care, because it doesn't affect them. The same way as the Haitian thing in, what was it, Ohio? Like, yes, there are people who actually come here for asylum, but if they actually break the law, they're, people running people over and this and that, and just to spite, and this is one of the things I hate. I don't like always Trumpers, and I don't like never Trumpers. Base it off what's happening. You cannot release a violent criminal, not just someone who's a border hopper. And I don't agree with that either, because yes, it's illegal, and we've incentivized them to come here, and we've incentivized them to not get their legal status, because we put them on all these programs specifically for illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, or whatever you want to call them. That's one of the things. They don't care about these people. The politicians are using them as political pawns, the left and the right. If the left really cared about them, they would actually make some kind of law, push some kind of legislation that would make citizenship easier to attain for these people. But no, they bring them in, and they bring them by the truckload, and they put them in cities. And now they're not just putting them in sanctuary states and cities. They're putting them in cities to throw off the voters block, because of course you're going to vote for the party that gives you the most stuff. It's 100% factual, and it's happening in real time. And the thing that irritates me the most is they're just using these people. They don't care about them. They don't care about them at all. Otherwise, they would hold them to the same laws as the rest of us, and they would make sure that they were on their way to becoming actual citizens. And then when people try to deport them, they say some of the most racist shit that I've ever heard. Is just like, oh, who's going to pick the strawberries? Who's going to wash the dishes? Who's going to clean the houses? And nobody says anything about that shit. It's some of the it's fucking horrible racist. Who's gonna do all my shitty jobs for slave labor or for slave wages? They're not even that high. These people, most of them who work for these really low wages, live probably 22 a house in like a 2-bedroom apartment. That's no way to live. It's just not. And they're putting whatever they can to live what they can here, and then they're sending the rest back home to either bring more people over or make sure that they live well, because our dollar goes a lot further in those countries for now. But I don't understand it. I don't like seeing this in the arts, where they'll change a character that used to be a white man and turn him into like a black woman or whatever, and they say they do it because diversity is important. That's not why they do it. There's all kinds in Marvel comics, and Marvel and DC Okay? There are a plethora of completely unused, fantastic characters that aren't white or male. There's a ton of them. You can make a series, you can make this or that, but they don't make anything like that. I'm still waiting. Like, look at my background. Look at my fucking background, okay? Who's that? This is Static Shock. He had a cartoon in the 90s to facilitate him being bought, or I don't remember if they bought them outright or if they got sued into oblivion, but Static Shock was is now owned by DC. This could be DC's Spider-Man, okay? This guy is insanely powerful. He's got a huge rogues gallery of really awesome bad guys. Most of them were people he went to high school with. And he's got a great power set. And he's got an awesome personality. And he's got, who does he have as the man in the chair? A man who literally can't get out of the chair. He's got a handicapped ginger, I want to say, as his man in the chair, the tech guy. That's plenty. Look at all these wonderful boxes. And most of a lot of the bad guys are white. Some of them are gangsters. But that's what I'm saying. All this exists. All of it's there. All of it's available. But they don't care about that. They want to turn all these characters, they want to do hand-me-downs, which is horribly insulting. A lot of my friends who are black comic book fans hate this kind of shit. They don't want hand-me-downs, okay? They want either new characters written, new, well-thought-out, good characters, or they want, but they instead, they don't believe in the writing and the storyboards for what they're putting out, so they will literally use people who they claim to want to help. They'll use them as human shields for all criticism. And it's disgusting. Okay? Like, it's part of the no press is bad press mentality. And that's just not true anymore. People are tuning out. Warner Brothers just got sold to Netflix, I think, or they're in the process. Because I think Paramount's still trying to get a final bid there. Hey, Shapeshifter, what's going on? But this is the kind of thing that drives me crazy. Nobody actually cares about these people who they claim to represent. They use them. Yeah, no, I'm just about done. I'm just making my final rant here. But it drives me absolutely insane seeing all this, because they divide us all, not only in the fan communities, but in the communities in general. Yeah, I mean, I could go either way with it. Like, Netflix has made a lot of really good stuff, but the gap, just on their TV shows, the gap between season 1 and like, Stranger Things started in, 2015? 2015, I want to say. When did Stranger Things first premiere?
Stranger Things premiered.
Yeah, July 2016. How much time is supposed to have passed in the Stranger Things universe from start to finish?
The Stranger Things asterisk.
Yeah. 4 years. 4 years, and it's almost 10 in real life. That's, at best, 2.5 years between seasons, roughly. And that's their flagship series. And when they first started, when they were just doing House of Cards and a couple of those other ones, they were doing one every year. But they have the potential to do it right. They just need to focus more on the content they wish to promote, and then throw a little few scraps here to some side projects, a couple $1 or $2 million projects here and there, for the low budget guys. But they have the potential to, it doesn't surprise me. They're sneaking that shit and everything. But they have the potential. They could even run the Snyderverse and the Gunn universe simultaneously. James Gunn could be in the theaters, and they can relegate the Snyderverse to the streaming service itself, because, I mean, why not? They already released the Snyder Cut directly to HBO Max, and it did gangbusters. It did way better than the Whedon cut. But again, And this is why I encourage everyone to fact check. This is why I encourage everyone to make sure that they know what they're taking in as far as news goes. Whether it's entertainment news, which most news these days is just for entertainment, or anything else. You have to make sure that you know what you're listening to, especially before you get pissed off. If you don't get pissed off, then so the fuck what? It's just something that you heard. But if it's something that drives you, if it's something that makes you hate another human being of whatever, whether it be over their race or their political opinion or whatever, if you're imbibing that kind of content, you really need to fact check it and make sure that it's correct. Otherwise, you're just hating people and potentially wanting to commit some kind of violence based on something that's not even true. It's complete silliness. Or because someone wanted you to be pissed off because it's great for their bottom line. But they're feeling it a lot these days because if you've noticed, especially anything attached to J.J. Abrams, at first he had great deals when it came to merch for all the properties that he took over. But then people stopped caring. It's amazing what just changing the satellite dish on the Millennium Falcon will do to drive down sales of merchandise. But guys, that's all I got for today. I appreciate you for stopping by. Again, please, please, please don't hate anyone based off something that a celebrity or a news reporter said these days. Most of these people are just liars and they're fake and they don't give a fuck about you, even if they claim to do so. I mean, do you really think Miley Cyrus cares about homeless people, or do you think she just likes taking pictures of herself, say, handing out sandwiches and shit, or partying with homeless people, which is pretty fun. I actually, in Hawaii, I went to a couple of what they called, this is what I call it, they called them bum parties, which kind of sounds like it might be something else now that I think about it. I didn't stay that long, but it was a lot of fun. There was a dude that looked like a Rastafarian version of a Candyman, but that's a story I'll get into on another day. Thank you all very much for stopping by. I see we're ending with a nice viewer count here. No. There's no pictures. They forbade it, actually. You never know what's going to happen. They put all their all the money they had taken in from all the tourists and foot traffic. They put it all in for, I think, 3 or 4 hotels and the cheapest hotel on the Strip in Honolulu. And just had a bonkers all-out party. It was great. Never seen people so free. Also, I'll never unsee some of the things that I've seen. But that being said, guys, I appreciate you all very much for coming here. Make sure you drop a like. If you feel compelled to do so, if you didn't catch the whole show, go back and watch a little bit of it. This wasn't my best one, but I had a few jokes. Like I said, Stephen Miller looks like French Stewart trying out to be Dr. Evil. But yeah, and if anyone would like to follow me on Rumble so I can start streaming some things over there and get some things organized and situated, that would be awesome. But until next time, I will see